What's up guys, it's Friday night, I'm chilling in my little office here and I thought I'd talk to you about this. This is a colouring book that I designed a few years ago. It's not just for kids, it's for everyone, it's for adults as well. It's the JDM colouring book, so it features just Japanese cars from Japan, cars that I love and cars that basically haunt my dreams and everything that I do and everything I think of. I thought I'd talk about how this book came about because it has been quite popular. I've sold them to pretty much every corner of the world. So a massive thank you for everyone that has bought one of these, or if you're considering buying one, thank you as well. Yeah, so basically I'm Australian, I live here in Norway, and when I first moved here I actually didn't have a job. I was waiting for my visa and I had a lot of spare time on my hands. One day I was at a bookshop and I saw this like American lowrider car colouring book. Instantly it just snapped in my head, of course, why haven't I thought of this before? At that time I was selling like stickers and t-shirts and everything. I was kind of looking for something else to do. So yeah, I went home that day and just started drawing basically, or just writing out a plan of how it was going to look, what kind of cars were going to be in there, what the cover was going to look like, and all the details of it. It took me almost about 3 years, I think, to actually finish the book. It took a fair amount of time, mainly because I was on and off the idea a lot. I would be drawing cars one day and then all of a sudden my head just go, no one's going to want this is a stupid idea, forget it. So I'd stop for maybe a couple of weeks and then it'd come back like, no, it's a good idea, continue with it, just get it done and just print maybe 20 of the books and see how it goes. And that's what I did. So the end of 2016 I think I had the first copies of the book. I had about 25 of them printed and it went crazy. I sold all of them within like a day, I think. It was right before Christmas as well, so it was just perfect timing. Rushed to get more and then was just selling them like crazy after that. I remember I was going to work each day with a backpack full of books getting ready to take to the post office. The guy at the post office was like, what is this? You're crazy, you need to get like a trade account because you're sending so much stuff and everything. So yeah, it blew up, it was awesome. It was super cool. I mean, just some crazy idea I had and all those years drawing them and it blew up. About the book itself, and why it did take so long was the amount of detail I kind of put into the cars. This was one of the hardest things really, is how much detail I wanted to put in the book. I didn't really want it to be like one of those kids books with just like a line drawing of a car. I wanted to have just a small amount of detail in there so people could maybe just use it as like a book to sit on their coffee table or something to look at as well. So if we look at one of the cars, let's see what we open up to. Why not? Mazda Rx-7fd. You can kind of see the detail that's in it, in the wheels, like the dimples in the brake rotors, the lights and everything. There's a small amount of detail in there, so that's what I've kind of wanted to do. So it's still fun to colour in, but it's also quite good to look at as well. The books themselves, they're not cheap by any means. They're not like just like a cheap $5 colouring book that you'd get at some shop or anything. They're all made and printed right here in Norway, so they're not made in China or anything like that. It's printed on quite thick paper, and that's to kind of stop it bleeding through if you do colour it in. Also, it's single-sided, so no car on the back, all just single-sided pages. And also it's spiral bound as well. You can see that. So it makes it just so much easier when you want to colour it. You can just flip it over like that, then you can get your arms and everything around it and colour it in. So yeah, and much easier to look at too. So yeah, I thought we could talk about each of the cars that are in there. There's 52 cars in total. So 52 pages plus the covers. It's quite a thick book. It actually weighs over ½ a kilo, so it cost me a fortune when I have to send them internationally. But that's all good. Yeah, so let's begin. It starts in alphabetical order. So the first one is a Datsun. So yeah, Datsun 240Z is the first car in there. Classic, timeless shape. One of the most beautiful cars that ever come from Japan. My dad owns one of these, which I'm very proud of. He bought it like back in the very early 2000s for nothing, like seriously nothing. Now it's worth an absolute fortune. Needs a restoration though, so I've been hassling him and hassling, but he's never going to do it. So I think I have to move back to Australia and kick his ass, or I'll take it on myself. But yeah, it needs paint, it needs a whole interior done and everything, but this had to go in there. Next are the Hondas, Honda Accord. This car was actually sent to me by someone who wanted me to draw it for him. It was his car and he wanted me to draw his car for him. And I liked it so much I had to put it in the book. I just love the detail of the engine bay and the engine popped up. It's the only car in there that has the engine popped up, so I really would like to do more of them actually. But yeah, looks very cool. Next, Honda Civic Eg. One of those cars you just have to drive, then you understand why people love them so much. Just fun, small, the driving position, everything in them is just perfect. Yeah, I owned one of these. I had a Honda Civic VTI, so this is a single cam VTEC motor in there. Loved it. One of the best cars I've ever had. Next, Honda Integra DC2 Type R. Another awesome car, another car that I have owned. I just owned a VTI Integra though, so not quite a Type R. But yeah, just another good, reliable Honda that I've owned. All the Hondas I've owned have just been perfect. Never let me down. I had another Civic Eg sedan actually, and that had like almost 300,000 on the clock. Never had a problem with it. They just go forever. I would definitely own another Honda. And if I was to own another one, then maybe it would be this, but probably not because I don't have the cash for that. But yeah, Honda NSX, yeah. Honda S2000, another classic car, and another company that don't really make any cool cars anymore. This is probably the last cool car that Honda ever made, so yeah, that sucks. Lexus GS400, had to put some VIP action in the book. Lexus IS200, these are cool. I really like these, especially when they're drifting or when they have 1JZ and 2J swaps. Now for Mazda's, Mazda 787B. I really wanted to put this in because I saw this car at World Time Attack Challenge in Sydney, Australia back in 2014, I believe that was. And just the most incredible sounding car I've ever heard in my life. It's one of those, when you hear it, it just reminds you of why you love cars in the first place. It was just pure heaven, the sound of this thing. Even when it was idling in the pits, it was just insane. Just unforgettable experience. Mazda Mx5, I had to put the NA one because I love the pop-up headlight style of the MX5s. This is the classic MX5 for me. I would love to own one of these actually. Shout out to all my friends back in Australia who love their MX5s. Mazda Rx3, had to put a few of the classic rotaries, Mazdas in there. I was very undecided when I did this which one to put in there, whether it was the R100, RX2 sedans, which I love as well, but settled with the RX3 coupe. And yeah, just really nice detail on this one that I added in the front grille and the wheels and everything. It's one of the coolest drawings I did. Now for the RX-7s, RX-7fd, I had to put in all the RX-7s of course. I have a lot of history with these, never owned one, but all my buddies did back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and we would cruise just together until like the sun came up. We wouldn't sleep. I grew up on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. People who know that area will know it's very popular for cruising, or it was back in the day before the cops shut everything down. But yeah, we would just cruise all night just looking for trouble really. RX-7fc, if I was going to own any RX-7, it would be one of these. I love the 80s styling. I've always loved 80s styling. The small little bonnet scoop. I love them with body kits as well. That's why I did this one with the kit. And yeah, one day I might own one. The FD, could not skip putting that in there. One of the sexiest, coolest cars to ever come out of Japan. Mitsubishi 3000 GT, one of the kind of forgotten JDM cars. But still very cool. Like when you look at these type of things, they're never going to make cars like this again. Like you know, all-wheel drive, V6, turbo, just insane. Interesting story, I used to work at Mitsubishi back in the mid-2000s. I worked at one of the only rally art dealerships in Australia, so we were the only ones certified to repair these and the Evos. And a lot of these would come in with broken gearboxes, so something to remember if you do want to buy one. This is just this cool thing that I added to the book. Is kind of like design your own graphics, your own livery to it. Yeah, this would be like a rally one, Mitsubishi Evo 6, so you could do your own rally graphics on there or whatever you want to do. Side, top, back and front. This is just, if you're really into graphic design and have an imagination, this is really cool. Mitsubishi Evo 9, one of my favorite Evos. Well, my favorite Evo, to be honest. I just love the shape of them. Really cool. As I said, when I worked at Mitsubishi, I got to drive a few of these when they first were delivered into Australia. I'll never forget that. So yeah, another car I would love to own one day. In the book, I really wanted to add something different. I wanted to put some race cars and everything in there, so I put the cars that I loved as a teenager. I grew up watching the WRC every Sunday afternoon, sitting there on the couch, and yeah, Tommy Mäkinen one with the Marlboro graphics and everything on there makes it really fun to colour in. Evo 10, the last cool car Mitsubishi ever made. Had to put the S13s in there, of course, the 180SX. What can you say, really? The unforgettable, just timeless lines of an S13 and a 180SX. I own one of these as well, CA18, back in the day. There's this one car that kind of gives me feels or anything, or I have like a good history with. It's actually a 300ZX. In Australia, you either grew up, well, back in the day, not anymore, but you either grew up Ford or Holden. And when you're a kid, that was it. That's the only cars you were allowed to like. You couldn't like anything else. Otherwise you'd be like bullied and beaten up in school. But back in like 1991 or 92, I believe, probably 92, my dad bought one of these when they first came to Australia. We only got the non-turbo one, so it was a non-turbo, but a Targa Top one. And it just opened up this whole new world for me. Like, and I'm so thankful for my dad back then. Like, as I said, it was either Ford or Holden, that was it. But no, he went out and bought one of these. And I thank him for that a lot, because then my eyes just opened up to Japanese cars. And this was a long time ago, early 90s. And I love this thing. And he owned this car forever. It did like 330,000 kilometers or something before he sold it. So yeah, I wish I bought it off him, actually. 350Z, just had to put a bit more of the modern Nissans in there. Not only rally cars, but I put in a few drift cars as well. This is one of my favorite drift cars from back in the day, the Blitz R34 Sedan. Yeah, this is not an easy one to colour in, so if anyone's done it, please send it to me. I've seen a few of them so far, and it can look really cool. Could not go without putting Zafiro in there. Yeah, I've got a bit of a history with my Zafiro. Cool cars. I love mine. One day it'll be ready again, possibly. Classic Nissan Muscle, one of the first Skylines, the Hakosuka. Just another beautiful, classic looking car. They will never make them like this again. Also one of the very my favorite drawings that I did as well. Just the perfect amount of detail on this one. GTIR, one of those cars you just look back and think, like, what were Nissan doing back then? They were just making such cool cars all at the same time. This is one of them. SR20, four-wheel drive, awesome looking. Yeah, they're not going to make them like this again. Another race car that I had to put in there because it's just one of the cars that also kind of changed my view on the whole car thing when I was a kid. This is the 1992 Bathurst winning GTIR. Mark Scaife. Just go onto YouTube, Google it, and watch this thing absolutely stomp away from the local dinosaur V8s at the time. A lot of cool history about this, and why Australia kind of has a bit of a history with GTRs is because of this car, really. And then just had to put just a standard GTR in there because R32s are cool, and yeah, I'm sure people would want to try and colour them in some cool colours. Had to put an R35 in there. I did a Liberty Walk one just because it's, I don't know, they look crazy and be fun to colour in and do some wild things with. that's the thing with this book. You can just let your imagination go wild. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. And if you do color things in, make sure you send them to me. Send them Instagram, Facebook, however. Just a bit of a drift one, C80s, 2 C80s there. Yeah, just wanted to put something a little bit different in there. Another S13 Sylvia, had to put that in there as well. It was always a hard choice of what cars to put in, and basically in the end I just put everything in. I think I had a short list at the start of 20 cars, and then was like, well, if I put that in, I've got to put that in, and it's just, I didn't want people hassling me like, why didn't you put that car in? So I was like, meh, I'll just put them all in. As I said, had to put them all in, so S13, S14, I did an S15 kind of livery one, so someone who might want to do like some crazy drift graphics on there or something, this is your template to do it. Roof, side, rear, front, let your imagination go wild. And then the S15, standard one with some work wheels on there, and yeah, the last S chassis ever made. Kind of sad. R33 Gtr Livery as well. You could just do some graphics on there or color it in, whichever side. Really cool for kids as well to do this, and yeah, just go crazy with it, really. I just love how this book, like, it looks good, but you can also use your own imagination. And one thing too, like, you can just photocopy. You don't have to draw in the book. Feel free to photocopy them as well. Do whatever you want. Had to put an R34 in there. Instagram famous. Yeah. What more can you say? Another one of the car, it's just speechless, really. So yeah. Subaru, one of those cars also where you kind of think back to Nissan and like, wow, they made some really cool cars back in the day, and this was one of them. Had to do the one with the R34 front because that always looks so cool on them. Subaru now, WRX STI blow-by, I believe it is, yep. Unsure why I chose that one. I don't know, I think I just wanted to kind of mix it up with modern, but for me, my favorite WRX is always going to be the GC8. And the most famous GC8 is, of course, this one, the Colin McRae 555. This is the 1997 one. Just, wow, one of the coolest rally cars ever. I can just sit and watch this car on YouTube for hours and hours and hours. The sound, the way that Colin McRae just drove the absolute just pants off this thing is crazy. One of my favorite cars of all time is the WRX STI 2-door. When these first got released in Australia, I used to hang them up on my wall. I love them. I remember walking into a Subaru dealership, like asking them about them. I must have been like 17 at the time with not a cent to my name, and I'm asking a Subaru dealership about a 2-door STI. So yeah, I had dreams back then. Toyota 86 livery. Yep. You know, these are cool to drift and everything. Cool cars as well. My dad actually owned one of these as well, but ended up selling it because he thought it was too slow. But it was a fun car to drive, actually. I really like the driving style of these. The shifter position, the way the car actually shifts, the seating, the dash, very lightweight, super fun to drive. But yeah, as I said, a little bit underpowered. Another classic car from Toyota, the Toyota 2000 GT. These are also incredible. I've never seen one of these in real life myself. I would love to one day. But yeah, I think the last one of these sold for like over $1 million or something. So doubt I'll be seeing one anytime soon. Toyota 86. This one I actually want to change because this is obviously the Drift King's car. And his is white, so to color this in would be kind of boring. So I want to change this up. I want to put a different one in there. So let me know in the comments of what type of 86 I should put in there. One with a body kit, like what style of 86 I should put in there. Yeah, please let me know because I want to change this page for a future edition of this book. Toyota Seleka Gt4, another really cool car to come from Toyota. Another car where they just will not make anything like this again. The quad headlights, I really like these actually. Another kind of underrated car from Japan. 2-litre turbo, 4-wheel drive, and just a good looking car. Another race car, I want to do something a little bit different, something more like American. This is a Seleka Turbo GTO. Have a look at this on YouTube. It's a really cool car and looks awesome. KE70. A lot of people know what these are, especially Australians. Although in Australia we got 4-door ones. This is a 2-door. Pretty sure 2-doors were only for the European market. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure. I used to own one of these as well, and it was one of the most reliable cars I've ever owned also. I used to commute like 200 kilometers a day in the thing, and it just never skipped a beat. JZX100, another car I had to put in there. One of the coolest sedans to ever come out of Japan. Toyota MR2 also, one of those cars where, like, as I said, they're not going to make any of these again. Rear engine, rear wheel drive, pop-up headlights, cool styling, like, yeah, probably a future classic as well. They probably already are. Most of these cars are all classics already anyway, but yeah, these, I remember these were cheap for a while, and now they're kind of, like everything else, they're going up in value. Supra Z30, I love these, the long bonnet. Yeah, I really love them when they're drifting, actually, the drift styled ones of these. 1JZs, V8s, man, Toyota made some cool cars back in the day. Especially these. A lot of history with these cars. Back in Australia, they were everywhere. They were just flooding in from Japan as like a cheap, you know, entry-level turbo performance Japanese import car. Seriously, they were everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing the blow-off valves from one of these things and turbo noises. I knew about 3 guys that had them, and they were super fun to drive. I always wanted one. Just really just small front-wheel drive, 1.3 litre turbo, cool little like interiors with like these cool coloured seats and everything. The crazy thing with these cars, they just stopped. They were just gone one day. They were everywhere, and then there's like none left. And if you do find them, they're going for good money now. But I really would like to know where all of these in Australia ended up. And of course the Supra, JZA80. What's there to say? This is the best Supra that they've ever made. I'm not a fan of the new ones, I'm sorry. I mean, I like them, but nothing compares to this thing. And then another Supra, had to put the race one in there. This is the Castrol Toms one. If you play Gran Turismo, you know what this is. Another challenging car to colour in. Another race car, the Toyota TS010. I wanted to put something a little bit more modern in, although this isn't that modern. It was like in the early 90s. This car raced at Le Mans, I believe, and got like 2nd place or something. So just really cool car, a fun car to colour in as well. That brings us to the end. That is all the cars in the JDM colouring book from 101 Squadron. Yeah, I believe you get a lot for your money in this book. There's a lot of cars in there. But please let me know if there's any cars you think should be in this book, something I'm missing out on, then please let me know. But I do have 2 other editions of books. There is the Kooky Edition, which is the updated one of this. In that one, there's no race cars in there, but I've added quite a lot of other cars. More like Suzuki's, Daihatsu's, more Subarus, more Nissans are in there as well. And that, I believe, is like 57 cars. It's the same price as this one, and it is super thick. It weighs a ton. And then I've got the Racing Edition book as well, which is all race cars. So drift, rally, track, everything is in that, and I believe that is 54 cars in that one. So I'll talk about those cars in another video, another time. But yeah, as I said, if there's any cars you think I've missed, please let me know. I'm also going to put a discount code voucher below this video for all my YouTube followers and the people that have actually watched this video till the end. Then you get a special bonus. It'll be 10% off the books and everything. You just use the code on checkout. The website, 101-squadron.com. That's where you buy them from. I ship worldwide. I have books in Australia too, so ship domestically in Australia. And then everything else is shipped from Norway, so it does take a little bit of time. I'm trying to set up a shipping agency in America, so shipping to America and Canada, it will be a lot faster than what it has been. Also, you can do a digital download of this book. You don't have to buy the physical copy and wait for shipping and everything. You download it, it's a zip file, unzip it, and then you have all of the pages there in PDF format, and you can do what you want with them. You can print them, share them, whatever you want to do. So yeah, check out the website, guys. Comment below if there's anything you think I should do. Maybe I should do like a European car book, an Australian one, an American one. But yeah, give me your ideas. And once again, thanks for watching and see you next time.